When should children have their own money, pocket money? How to give wisely. How to teach well. Dear parents, today we're diving into a topic that likely piques the interest of many: our children's money matters. Giving kids their own money isn't just about handing them cash to spend. More importantly, it's about providing them with opportunities to learn self-control, make their first financial decisions, and understand the value of money. However, as the saying goes, it's not what you give, but how you give it. How are we giving money to our kids to ensure they learn valuable lessons? Before we delve into the details, let's outline the key points we'll cover today. First, we'll explore what money is truly for and why everyone, including our little ones, needs it. Next, a critical question: when is the right time for kids to start having their own money? And how much is enough? We'll also discuss whether the money kids spend always needs to serve a proper purpose and how parents can set reasonable guidelines for both their children and themselves. Finally, we'll explore different ways to give pocket money effectively. So, let's get started. The magic of money. More than just shopping. Parents, before we think about giving kids money, let's clarify what money is really for. Money isn't just paper or numbers. It's a magical tool that pays for tangible things like a new outfit for school, a favorite comic book, or a toy your child dreams of. But it doesn't stop there. Money also opens doors to enriching experiences, like a movie ticket, a fun day at the water park, or a small gift your child picks out for a friend, teacher, or loved one. Clearly, money meets a wide range of needs, from physical items to joys and emotional experiences. Everyone needs money, from toddlers to adults. So, who needs money? The answer is simple: anyone with material or emotional needs, and yes, that includes our little angels. Have you noticed how a 3-year-old might point at a superhero toy in a store and insist, "I want that," or beg for a cool ice cream? These are natural, valid desires. However, at such a young age, kids can't yet walk into a store, choose, or pay for things themselves. That's why parents often cover these reasonable wants directly instead of giving kids money to manage. The leap to independence. When is your child ready to handle money? This is probably the question that puzzles parents the most. When should kids start managing their own money? The golden moment is when your child begins to gain some independence from you. This could be when they can confidently walk into a nearby toy store, stride into a bakery to pick their favorite treat, or even use a vending machine at school or a playground. As kids start having their own spaces and activities without parents hovering nearby, the need for a small sum of money to meet their little desires naturally emerges. But parents, here's a crucial note: before handing over those first coins or bills, we must equip our kids with basic lessons. Teach them how to confidently enter a store, check prices, and buy a small snack or toy within the budget you've given them. In other words, show them how to spend money safely and sensibly before letting them manage it independently. This foundation ensures they're not overwhelmed and can use money meaningfully. How much is enough? Determining reasonable pocket money. Once you've pinpointed the right time, another tricky question arises: how much pocket money is appropriate? There's no one-size-fits-all answer, as it depends on your family's financial situation, local cost of living, and your values. However, a helpful guideline is that the amount should be close to the cost of a snack or small toy your child enjoys. For example, imagine you live in an area where nothing in the local convenience store costs less than 50 Vietnamese dongs. If you give your child only 10 Vietnamese dongs a week, they won't be able to buy anything they want, which can feel disappointing and impractical. Ideally, one allowance should roughly match the price of something they can buy outright. Why? This creates a choice. They can spend it immediately on something small or practice restraint, saving up for a bigger, more valuable item later. This subtly teaches self-control and the value of delaying instant gratification for a greater goal. If the amount is too small to buy anything, kids miss out on practicing decision-making and learning self-discipline. Their money, their choices, respecting preferences and setting boundaries. Now, let's tackle an intriguing and sometimes debated topic. Does pocket money always need to be spent on useful things? As defined by adults, parents, let's reflect on ourselves for a moment. Haven't we all bought a dress on sale that we never wore or splurged on a shiny new gadget we barely use? If adults can spend impulsively or make mistakes, why do we expect kids to always spend their money correctly or beneficially? Pocket money is for kids to meet their personal needs and preferences. If they want a certain toy and have enough money, they should have the freedom to buy it. That's life, right? It would be a double standard if moms can freely shop for clothes or cosmetics while kids' money is restricted to useful items like crayons or books. Of course, this doesn't mean we let kids spend recklessly without guidance. We can set reasonable boundaries and principles that apply to both kids and parents. For example, you might say, "Mom loves buying new dresses. Just like you love surprise toy eggs. But we need to manage our spending. I'll limit myself to 2 new dresses a month. How about you stick to 2 surprise eggs a month?" Depending on your family's situation, you can negotiate different agreements. The key is to avoid being overly rigid or forcing kids to only buy what adults deem useful. Give them space to choose and learn from their decisions. Handing over the money. Which method suits your child? Finally, let's discuss how to give money to kids. There are several methods, each with its pros and cons. Method 1. Paying for chores. Some parents pay kids for specific tasks, like 10 Vietnamese dongs for washing dishes or 2 Vietnamese dongs for taking out the trash. Honestly, tracking and paying for each task daily can be tedious. Plus, if your little worker only feels like washing dishes but skips the trash, things can get complicated. Method 2. A fixed allowance for chores. Another approach is paying a set amount weekly or monthly for all chores, like 40 Vietnamese dongs a week for helping with dishes and trash daily. If your family would otherwise pay for hired help, this can make sense. However, if household tasks are a shared family responsibility, consider this. Why should kids get paid for dishes when mom's ironing or dad's cooking goes unpaid? This could unintentionally send the wrong message about family duties. Method 3. Regular, no strings attached pocket money. When kids have their own needs and show self-control, like confidently navigating a bookstore, supermarket, or vending machine, they deserve a regular allowance to make decisions about their valid desires. This method builds trust, respect, and real-world practice in managing personal finances. In summary, dear parents, giving kids their own money is a vital step in their journey to maturity. It fosters self-control, teaches smart decision-making, and builds a sense of responsibility for their money. As we said at the start, it's not what you give, but how you give it. How are you giving money to your kids? Do you see your child in any of the scenarios we've discussed? I hope these suggestions inspire you to guide your kids wisely as they learn to use money meaningfully. Goodbye for now, and see you at our next exciting topic.